Hello?
Yes, you've reached Thick Niggas Incorporated. How may I direct your call?
I need me a thick nigga, but no homo though, cause that's that gay shit. Nigga, as long as I say no homo, it's not gay, right?
Absolutely right, sir.
Anime bitches, I look at her titties, then I take her home and we count up these 50s. I come to your city, I sneak in your chimney, I tickle her kidney, and then I watch Disney. I love me some hentai, I go on next videos. Bitch, I'm D-Bang, stick my dick in your Cheerios. Bitch, I'm D-Bangs, I might fuck my computer. I whip out my dick, then pull up on my shooter. I tickle your booty, and then I get neutered. I know I'm a loser, I tickle your tumor. I find me a bitch that got no sense of humor. It's Lil' come stand, I'm the booty consumer. I take off her shoe and then do the maneuver, and if she act tough, I might whip out the Luger. You know I'm with Kia, I go to Ikea. She soft like a cheetah, she from Costa Rica. Hey, little mama, come through, get respected. She take off her shoe, I take out my erection. I suck on her middle toe, don't use protection. Can't call me Poppy, I teach her a lesson. I only eat ass, it's a pussy oppression. You swear that she loyal, yo bitch in my mentions. I whip out my dick, paint and face like Picasso. I suck on her toes, then I'm out like yo Chapo. I look at her booty hole, eat it like tacos. I respect all women, she better not swallow. She touch on my cockpit, I put it on auto. Suck toes and eat ass, that's a D-bongo model. I cuff me a kid, then write her a song. She take off her shoe and I take off that thong. I whip on my dick, she said, baby, what's wrong? Girl, nothing, I'm about to smash like I'm King Kong. Poppy go harder, I nutted a while back. Bitch, I'm D-Bangs, I ball hard like the Wildcats. Ain't talking about Troy, she take out a toy, cause my dick was too small for her to enjoy. I meet with the mom, yeah, kid so bomb. I whip out my weenie on Pornhub.com. Swag, swag, swag.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Lesser Saints of Discord, your one and only pre-show to the YouTube Saints, which starts in about 2 hours. I'm Jables, and I'm here with Waffle. We're going to be talking about some news stories and things like that. We'll have some guests on later. All that good jazz. Welcome everybody. I see people coming in a little bit.
A little bit, trickling in, bit by bit. I'm not actually watching. As you know, I am ignorant of the live chat and have to rely on Jables to translate everything, and clearly this cannot be run poorly.
They're talking mass shit about you right now. So.
Oh god, how could they, you monsters? Behind my back in a place where I could easily go look and see.
Yeah. Sorry for the late announcement, everybody, but whatever. Do what we want, we're not consistent.
What you have to understand is that I had a very full day of driving cars, and then after that I was just exhausted because I barely had to walk at all, except for the part where I had to walk a lot.
Yeah, I've had a pretty full day too. I got out of bed.
Oof. Ah, man.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Rough.
Don't do that. That is the way you know that a day is going to go poorly. It's when you get out of bed.
Yep.
I get the feeling that I might be a little bit depressing this show. Maybe I should start drinking. Maybe.
Well, especially with our first article that we have going, because it's fucking hilarious.
Oh god, I might need alcohol for it. In any case, I don't know that we have any announcements as far as the Discord goes. Things seem to be going rather well. I haven't seen anybody really shit the bed recently. Every once in a while I'll see people, toss in those that everyone mentions, and at this point I just kind of go over and toss you, I just go over and muffle people, and I'm not even really warning people anymore. That being said, if you notice that you're muffled and you want it back and I don't remember doing it, I'll give it back for sure. So if you notice you can't add everyone and want to, let me know. I'll probably put it back. It's just kind of
nice.
It's not supposed to be a big deal punishment. It's basically just oh my god, okay, cool it for a few days, and you might not even notice that it happened. There's a few people where I've muffled them and unmuffled them, and in that entire time, they haven't even tried to do it. So.
Yeah. I do have an announcement. We broke 100 subscribers, which means we have half of our target audience.
What? Wait, what? How? Why is our target audience 200 people? How does that work?
That's the average amount of people that are online in the Discord. Supposedly online, not necessarily in the Discord, but I'm going off that average.
You remaining 100 people, I don't know who you are, but I won't find you, and I won't ban you.
Like, subscribe, comment, make fun of us in the chat.
Give us money to P.O. boxes that we haven't, give us money to dead drop locations that will be sent to you in a code that you must then decipher and then go to the exact coordinates and put it in a specific kind of Tupperware, because otherwise we'll know that you're a narc.
It'll be like really fun super chats, but geocaching at the same time.
Yes. So that being said, given that we don't really have all that much special to talk about, At least as far as the Discord goes. Let's go ahead and hop straight into some of our articles. And I clearly know how OBS works, so this transition's not awkward at all, and I'm totally not continuing to talk to, I don't know, make this transition just happen and fill the dead air and make it look like I'm doing this and making it look really snappy. That's definitely not what's going on at all.
Real smooth.
Very smooth. So that being said, let's go ahead and start with...
Oh, damn it. I hate where I'm living right now. Yeah, Anita Sarkeesian.
This hurts me. This hurts me bad.
Oh, it's a double whammy. It's Anita Sarkeesian and Trump.
Yeah.
So
never say that I don't love you people. I think about Anita Sarkeesian because you people will be entertained.
Yes. So this line, cunt, is, so she is doubling back on her statement about how video games cause violence and sexism and all that shit.
You know what? I do need alcohol for this. Let me know when I just scroll, but I'm gonna get up and mix myself something.
All right, yeah, go for it. Don't even worry about it. I'll just I'll just chat with the chat a little bit.
Oh no, keep talking about the article. I'll just go up and scroll when I have to.
I'm not gonna read through it yet. I'm just gonna give some background. So Anita Sarkeesian is doubling back on her statement that video games cause violence and sexism and shit like that. Because Trump came out and said that he heard that video games are causing more violence. And so she is now quote unquote red pilled on that fact, apparently. I don't know. Man, I kind of wish we covered the other article first, because we have some funny shit going on after that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We're doing this first. This is important.
Yeah, get this out of the way. Yeah, so my question is, can we get Trump to say ridiculous shit so that Anita has to backtrack on a bunch of other things? What do you think, Chet? Yeah, what do you think, Chet? Do you think we should just start a mass tweet event to get Trump to believe and say ridiculous things that Anita believes, so we can get her to start backtracking?
I feel like
get him to call.
I feel like this could be a
get him
thing.
to.
Like we could name this Trump therapy, where you take somebody who believes a whole bunch of like, you know, notions, like who hallucinates, has these psychotic ideas that are just completely divorced from reality. And to fix these tendencies in them, you just tell them that Trump said the same thing, and all of a sudden they'll be like, well, if he said it, it can't be true, so I guess the voices in my head are lying.
Yeah. Oh, what we should do is we should get Trump to say that Sargon is a garbage person, or a garbage human.
What would how do you think she'd backtrack on that?
I don't know. She'd probably go through and be like, after further review, I realized he was just critiquing my ideas, and I don't really think he's a garbage human.
He's not actually a garbage human. It turns out he's composed mostly of aluminum recycling.
Yeah.
Alright,
oh, Jesus.
So that's a fucking portion of a train.
Oh, Maxwell has a good thing. Let's get Trump to say everything is sexist. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
It'll do. Alright.
Yeah.
So I now have things to dull the pain and hopefully make me forget. Kids at home, don't drink to forget. It's a bad idea. It doesn't work. I say as I pour more rum into this.
Yeah, well, it works if you die.
That might be up for debate, but we're not talking about metaphysics on this show.
That's next week.
Is it? I don't know. Maybe. So let's start scrolling through this article a bit here. This was last updated on March 2nd, 2018, which was a few days ago, but I don't know how many, because I don't even know what day it is.
The 4th. It's 2 days
sure.
ago.
Yeah, wait, what? Okay, good. That is good to know, because the 5th is important, and I need to remember what that is. I've got a call to make tomorrow.
Yes, right. The 6th is also important. It's my birthday.
I actually didn't know that.
No, nobody knew that.
All right, so
Spicy.
She tweeted out that President Trump has been using video games as a scapegoat. +1 all this, ready Trump using video games as a scapegoat. Twitter, blah, 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 Carolyn, Michael, or Michelle, or I don't care. So, offense frequency. This level of extreme violence should be considered normal. It's not an excuse to say it's expected because Doom. That's the problem with Battle... Wait, BE3. What is BE? I feel so illiterate. What is BE3?
Chat, help us out. What is hashtag BE3? What the fuck is that?
We need to seriously address the connections between violence, sexism, and toxic ideas of manhood before boys and men commit more mass shootings. Video game violence and glorification must be stopped. It is creating monsters.
Oh, it's Bethesda
beautiful.
E3.
Oh,
it's for Bethesda E3. Yeah.
But still, look at that. Is that not beautiful? Just boom. Feminist frequency. I can't select that. Oh, now I can. This is a weird layout for a website. Anyway, these tweets, they're just so similar. I love it. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Oh, God. You know, and then we have this video that probably all of us have seen where she admits that she's not a gamer in 2010. And I have thoughts about that I'm not going to go into, and, you know.
Well, it's because she's a lying cunt. But...
fuck it, I will go into it. So, my thoughts on that are... When she's like, oh, I've played video games since I was a small child, back growing up on the prairie, or whatever it is that she says... You know, that's bullshit, because she went up and she's like, I'm not a gamer, I don't play games and all that. So either way, she's lying, because if one of those things is true, she lied to the people in that video, or if she wasn't lying in the video, she was lying in everything else. Great, sure, whatever. But her saying in 2010 she was not a gamer does not mean that she's not a gamer in 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17. She may well play a whole lot of games. Maybe by doing that project, she played some games, found out she liked them. That's the kind of thing I'd be willing to forgive. Yes, she is a liar. Yes, she is demonstrably a liar. But her admitting that then does not make her still not that now. You know?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not like I'm not trying to defend her in any respect, but it's one of those things where if you leave a hole like that in a criticism of her, she could be like, well, I play all these games. Look at all these games I own and consoles I own. And it's like, yeah, but in 2010, just like, well, why are you bringing up shit from 2010? This is now. That kind of kills what you're trying to say. However, if you turn around and say like, yeah, no, you might play games now, but you lied here clearly, or like you either lied here or you lied here. And just putting it being like, I'm not saying whether or not you play games now. I'm saying that you're dishonest, and that's obvious. You know, that is something you can work at. So just don't mix up your stuff.
I would forgive her if she apologized for it and actually addressed it. At least.
I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, well, okay, I might forgive it.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I got beef with somebody in the chat real quick. Okay, so game misconduct, you say, I admit it. If I had a few drinks in me, I would give her a go. Maybe.
There is a friend of mine, and I'm going to quote a few things that he's said, which are contradictory, which I love. One of them is that he actually finds Anita Sarkeesian somewhat attractive. And that's okay. I don't agree with him on that. One thing I do agree with him on is that some women age very well. Some women age like fine wines. Sigourney Weaver has aged like a fine wine. In case of not being clear about this, I would drink Sigourney Weaver.
Okay.
I would not drink Anita Sarkeesian.
Okay.
I don't like this vintage no matter how much it ages.
I'm a very personality-driven kind of guy. So when I see shit personality, it just takes a lot of notches off of somebody who even is attractive.
Yeah, I get you. I get that. I'm with you there. I understand. But either way, what a shock that a fucking, pompous, dishonest ideologue is suddenly similar to a bunch of someone that a bunch of people have criticized as a pompous, dishonest ideologue. Oh my god.
Weird.
Crazy.
Weird, right?
How could it be? It's almost like
Does
somebody...
that mean that...
Oh, go ahead, please.
Does that mean that Anita Sarkeesian is one step closer to being literally Hitler because she agreed with Trump at one point?
Yeah, that's exactly what that means. In fact, I'm pretty sure that Hitler inspired the United Nations. I'll explain why at a later date. I'm just going to keep explaining that. Sorry, Rimshee. But well, oh god, I had a thing. I was going somewhere with this. Oh, right. So it's almost like you have a person who openly admits that his entire strategy for getting elected and ascending to this position of political power and all this is to be an ideologue, play to the crowd, say things that people want to hear, not necessarily honestly. You know, he's admitted that that's what he does. He's a showman. You know, he's a performer. That's what he does. It's almost like you've got this other person over here who does exactly the same thing, but doesn't admit that, and they both are riding the same trend, and then all of a sudden she's like, oh no, this isn't the boat I want to be in, because you're in it. I'm so utterly not surprised by this. Yeah. There's much joy here, but not much surprise. It's fun.
Yeah, I'm not gonna... Well, I could, but I'm not going to. Never mind. Never mind. Oh, alright. So I don't know, that's all I have to say. Just about the Anita Sarkeesian shit.
Long story short, Anita Sarkeesian is one of the dreaded flip-floppers. But it's, instead of her, you know, legitimately changing her mind, at least that being what it is, it's her just being like, oh, Trump is bad. Now, admittedly, she could actually probably turn around on this and clarify and turn this into not shit, where she could say, no, I think that video games are causing violence, so that there's a link, but I disagree with Trump using that as a scapegoat because he needs to be paying attention to other causes of it. If she said that, it would be like, alright, fuck it, that's logically sound. I can't actually, you know, knock that. I think, I wouldn't believe it, but I couldn't knock it. But I don't think she's going to do that. I think she's gonna basically try to retcon this, but she forgets that the internet never forgets. So, yay! This is great.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna just read the last paragraph of this because I think it's actually somewhat pertinent, which is hopefully gamers can see through the ruse from the media and certain critics who are now trying to get back in the good grace of the community. This is despite the fact that just 4 years ago, game journalists launched an anti-gamer crusade that made it all the way into the mainstream media. Certain journalists even went so far as to say that members of the gaming community were, quote, worse than ISIS, end quote, with a link to probably people saying that shit. Though it is a Know Your Meme page, so I don't... You know what? I'm going to click on it. We're going to see what we get with this. Oh, yeah, no, that was a thing that happened.
Yeah, you didn't know about that?
No, I did know about that. That was interesting. But regardless, we'll just go ahead and leave that be. On to the next thing, which is actually related. Look at us having a somewhat consistent narrative. Bam!
Yeah. Oh yeah, that means I can shit on Anita some more too.
Yep, Trump supporters can't stand the idea of a smelly armpit or stinky foot, a study found, and psychologists are not surprised, nor should anyone else be.
No, not at all. I think this... Well, part of it is, like, conservatives tend to be a lot more neat and orderly and clean and stuff, in general.
To use some of Jordan Peterson's words.
Hashtag not all.
To use some of Jordan Peterson's words, one of the things that comes out of a high degree of orderliness, and you know, which is part of high degree of conscientiousness in one's personality, you end up with a very high disgust sensitivity, and so at extreme, you know, points of that, you become a germaphobe, and you need to clean everything and just make sure everything's neat and orderly and sanitized and perfect. Is it any wonder that someone like this would dislike the smell of a stinky foot or a smelly armpit? Or hold on. Maybe it's just that people who shower regularly are not inoculated against this particular smell. I imagine if you were to go and look among Bernie supporters, Kerry supporters, Gore supporters, anything supporters of anything, you'd find that a majority of them probably don't enjoy that smell.
Yeah.
I mean, this is kind of like being like, oh my god, do you believe that Trump's supporters think the sky is blue? Imagine my shock. Jesus
Yeah, it's
Christ.
something that can apply to the general populace. I mean, didn't apply to me when I was living in the woods for like 2 months.
It does get better.
That's a different story for another time.
It does get better because as we scroll down here, we find out. Okay, that actually is visible on the stream. Good. Scientists
They
surveyed.
also included farts.
Oh, yeah. So scientists surveyed Trump and Clinton supporters a month before the 2016 election and found differences in how the two groups reacted to body odors. Socially conservative voters were more sensitive when presented with the idea of a stinky fart or a smelly armpit. It's a finding that aligns with years of study on psychological differences between people who hold socially conservative and liberal views. Jesus Christ. How is this news? This is on Business Insider.
I don't know. But one thing I do have to say is that, does this mean Anita Sarkeesian's going to talk about how much she loves the smell of farts?
I would love that. That would be hilarious. If she's like, oh, what's that? Trump supporters don't like armpits. Can't get enough of that. In fact, it's actually part of my new nutraceuticals treatment. I have a can of pressurized armpit gas.
Yeah.
Take a good old whiff of that every morning. It gets me high because I think I'm dying.
No, I think, I think Anita, if she wants to go far, she might just say that she's into scat play.
In that case, I have some games that she can go play because they're total shit.
Okay.
Sadly, none are coming to mind at the moment because I've blocked out the memory. Cough, cough,
No Man's
Superman
Sky.
64.
Cough, cough, No Man's Sky.
Cough, cough, the fucking E.T. game, good god.
Oh, the one on Atari?
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Also, just all three highlight games. That works. What else? Ooh, I hope Gator's... can you check the viewers and see if Gator's there? Because I want to piss him off.
Well, no, I can't. Gator, are you here? Just say something in the chat, because I can't see who is watching.
Well, assuming that he'll watch this later, and Final Fantasy X!
Is Gator a fan of Final Fantasy X?
Yeah, he is.
Oh.
No, if I'm being completely honest, it's not actually a bad game. I have a lot of problems with character design and writing decisions and just a lot of stuff that went wrong in it, but solid gameplay, fun combat, good leveling system, mini games were actually fun, even though you can cheese blitzball ridiculously hard, and the fact that the guy, the main villain that isn't a giant fucking kaiju monster that's may or may not be your abusive dad. So sorry if I'm spoiling things, but that the other recurring villain has wood both on his head and on his other head, and then tries to marry one of your, party members, and that just totally ends well and isn't creepy at all.
Yep.
Yeah.
I probably never played anyway. So
it's not actually a bad game, but I have so many problems with it. In any case, Anita!
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Alright.
It's like just looking at this thing being like, oh, well, the smell of farts is nice, and, getting cheated out of money is nice too, and I just enjoy all of these things that clearly, Trump does not enjoy, or Trump supporters don't enjoy. That makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, I'm gonna go play some of that, Battlefront 2.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, can we be done with Anita and Trump for now?
I wonder if Anita would buy hundreds of dollars worth of loot boxes if they had just awful smells in them.
Well, maybe we should tweet her this article. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, chat.
Yeah, just definitely tweet her this article. That would be hilarious. That would be absolutely lovely. That brings me enjoyment and joy.
If you're not blocked, that is.
If you're not blocked. So, conservatives don't like being crossed out.
Surprise, surprise. Okay.
Imagine my fucking shock. Why?
Imagine my shock.
What gaining weight does to your body? I imagine it makes it heavier. Jesus Christ. Business Insider. You're doing clickbait and doing it so very poorly.
Also, fuck fuck you, Business Insider, because they don't let you view their site with an ad blocker unless you pay a $1 membership. So get fucked. Money grubbing fucks.
I like how they moved this down to say, like, okay, so Lisa said that the strong reaction of conservatives may share an evolutionary source with an emotion that evolved to protect our bodies by poisonous substances and diseases. That is a mangled sentence, but whatever, I understand that he was quoted, and he's talking, so it probably sounded better when he said it. And then, but now it says, but other recent research has suggested that socially conservative people's ability to easily get grossed out can extend into prejudice for unfamiliar groups like immigrants or gay people. Oh my God, we need to secure the border because they're icky. What? So I mean, like, there's actually legit research that does suggest that.
Sweeney?
They might be talking
1997 that fucked with Tom Sweeney.
This might be Tom Sweeney. They might, all the people surveyed might have just been Tom Sweeney. No, but just to be fair, those studies exist. I've read several of them. A lot of them are not actually wrong, or at least their methodology makes sense. Their data makes sense. It's like, that's actually really interesting that, you know, a high disgust sensitivity could, you know, correlate with a high sensitivity for the other. Okay, that's kind of cool. But citation fucking needed!
Whoa. You act like you want people to be intellectually honest on the internet.
No, I act like I want people to link me to stuff so I can go down a goddamn rabbit hole of reading stuff and be late for work.
That works too. Alright. So, should we move on to the fun?
Be like TV tropes! Ruin my life, Business Insider! Alright, let's move on to the next one. I think that's enough.
Yeah.
I shouldn't ask Business Insider to ruin my life. I'm sure they can. All
yeah,
right.
this is at least fun. I don't know who did this, but they deserve an award.
Oh, yeah. That's not the right one. Oh, my God.
Did you bring up porn?
No, I did not bring up I did not bring up porn. I just brought up the wrong thing. But it's okay, because time for a stabbing!
Yeah.
Real talk here, breaking character, if I ever had one in the first place. This source in OBS, I just named stabbing for reasons. So fuck it.
For reasons. Okay.
Even though Jason Voorhees doesn't really stab people, he decapitates them. So I guess we're talking about brutal legend now. Go ahead.
Bashes them against a tree.
Yes.
So somebody, I'm not entirely sure who, they might get into that in the article. They put a statue of Jason Voorhees at the bottom of a lake in Minnesota. So it's just kind of sitting down there, and to scare the shit out of people that go diving, essentially. Yeah. So.
Let's be clear though. This is no like, oh, we've got a cute little like, oh shit, there goes my pop filter. This is no like, oh, we've got like a cute little lake and everything's lovely, and you know, we just went down there and chained this up, and, you know, with our snorkels. This thing's 120 feet down.
Yeah.
Like,
they're serious.
That's enough that, like, your watch that says it's water resistant, yeah, it's not water resistant that deep. It's lying to you.
Yeah.
These people had to have real watches to go down, real ones that tick, or pretend to, with numbers that are digital. They've got the spinny thing on the top. They needed that to go down there. I mean, they probably just held their breath the whole time, but they needed other equipment. But the watches, they needed the watches. They were probably Swiss. That takes dedication. They got the Swiss involved. Sorry, I'm...
What?
Have I ever mentioned I'm a little bit of a lightweight?
I can tell. Alright. Here, I've been drinking all day.
I have no idea how much rum I put into this, actually. Like, it could be half a shot, it could be 5, I don't know.
Whatever. Alright.
I just kind of started pouring it and stopped when I got bored.
Yeah, so essentially they just put this Jason Voorhees at the bottom of a lake. Checked up on it later, it looks even creepier. I'll just read through the article, it's a short one.
Yep.
Okay, so no matter how much Jason Voorhees, the goalie mask-wearing unstoppable slasher from Friday the 13th franchise, has scared us over the years, we can take solace in the fact that he is not real. Everyone knows he's merely a fictional character. Everyone knows he's merely a fictional character, but something tells us that knowledge isn't particularly comforting for scuba divers in Minnesota when they unexpectedly come across his statue at the bottom of a lake.
But before you continue, oh wait, no, please continue. But when you get to the end of that next paragraph, I'll just play some of the video.
All right, that works. We learn about this terrifying real-world horror at Bloody Disgusting, and it's the work of artist Curtis Lahr, who built this nightmarish, fantastic piece, replete with machete in hand, with machete in hand and placed at 120 feet at the bottom of a popular spot for divers in Crosby, Minnesota. This is what the statue looked like originally.
Beauty.
Yeah, I don't know if you're playing it because I can't see. Alright. That's,
Camp Crystal Lake, spooky music, weird low shot over water that's rippling. Oh, it's underwater now! It's almost like there should be a shark in this. Oh, so they did need diving equipment. I don't see his watch yet, though, so I don't... Oh, wait, is that a watch? Nope, that's not a watch. Maybe it is. If it is, I can't see shit.
Maybe.
Oh, they're making the sound. It's great.
Alright. Yep, so there's Jason Voorhees.
Yep.
It's pretty well done.
Very well done. I'm impressed. That's some good shit. It's good prop. It's well done.
Yeah.
I like the eyes. I like the eyes. It's just
ready to go.
So we got some views of that. That's great. So then, please continue.
Oh dear God, that is not okay.
I think it's pretty
that's
okay.
What the article says. No, that's what the article says.
I know that's what the article says. I don't agree.
Okay. After a few years underwater, the Jason statue, and we have to keep reminding ourselves that it is just a statue, starting to show some wear and tear. But honestly, that just makes him look even more terrifying. Like he's long overdue for a murder spree.
Yeah, so I'll go. It's 22 seconds, so it'll be fine. It'll just show a little bit, but he's probably covered in plants. Because that's what happens. He turns into a swamp thing. A thing from a swamp, but it's a lake. Lakes and swamps are not the same thing. Know this. If you take anything from this show, remember that.
Yeah.
I like it. It kind of looks like he has hair now.
I hope people don't take anything from this show.
Take from us nothing, and in return, give to us everything!
Yes. Okay, Gilbert.
But we don't have a Streamlabs yet, so you can't do that. You can't give us your life savings. It's unfortunate. So you can do that to Nick and Jeff later tonight. Hey.
Yeah.
Look at me being all shilling. I'm exploiting my shilling talents, which I don't do often.
Yeah. And then it goes on. They're like, we know Jason Voorhees is a fictional character, but if we'd ever gone into this lake and didn't know about it, blah 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 blah, and end scene. All right.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's great. I like it. Now, I would like to call attention, as we did in the last episode, to a couple things here. Namely, the most popular articles tab on the side here. A lightsaber tribute to Star Wars Rebels, Kanan Jarrus. I'm guessing that somebody probably machined a thing, like did some aluminum like stuff on a lathe and then put stuff in. It's like, look, guys, lightsaber, because combat lightsabers are a thing. I have one. But number 2 here. There's a Japanese show about a samurai and the adorable cat he wouldn't assassinate. I want to watch that, so I'm actually going to go ahead and open that in a new tab and just leave that up, because I want to know what it is. Bass guitar sounds way more epic in a nuclear power plant cooling tower. Oh, fuck, that actually sounds kind of cool, too. The internet is losing it over Luke's Return of the Jedi plan, and watch Mr. Rogers save public television on Drunk History. Yeah, I'm just gonna tab those for later. In general, Nerdist, yeah, I might check you out every once in a while now. You have piqued my interest. Also, worth noting, I found out a new reason to hate Star Wars Episode 8. Now, I don't hate Star Wars Episode 8. I quite liked the movie. I know it has flaws, but I walked in there expecting nothing, and I got something better than Episode 1. So, I was happy. But this new fact I'm going to reveal to all of you now may actually have destroyed the movie for me. And I'm shocked that I didn't recognize this, because this is my notification tone on my phone. They didn't use the goddamn Wilhelm scream. It's the first Star Wars. It's the first Star Wars movie to not use the Wilhelm scream.
What?
That's not cool.
Boycott Boycott all Star Wars from now on.
Hey, the ninth movie might bring it back, but the eighth one is forever going to be the movie that tried to be serious by not using the single most used stock sound effect in cinematic history.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought you all should know Wilhelm Scream is great, and if you want it to, like, you can totally get it as a, like, notification ringtone, and it's hilarious, because every time someone texts you, your phone screams at you, and everyone else in the room gets worried, and then laughs nervously, and then laughs more real, but then your phone screams again, and it breaks the tension. While also ratcheting it up ever higher. It's good for suspense. Do it. Great for parties!
Right, so, I think it's time to bring in our guests.
I agree. Let me go ahead and make that... Oh. What have I done? Well, I put something back instead of taking it away. That is not how this magic works. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and...
Jesus. Yeah,
Jables Voorhees? Yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah, that's what mitochondria said.
Yeah, so... Oh, hey, are you friends with... Who are we grabbing for this one right now?
Rimshee.
Rimshee? Just Rimshee for now?
Yeah, unless you can get age straight.
Alright, prepare for dead air in which... Or not dead air, because I'll be talking, but you won't be able to hear Jables. Boom! Hey everybody, this is great. I'm waiting for them to show up. I think Jables is here, and I think Rimshee is also here.
What?
Yep, Jables is here. Yeah, everything's
yeah, okay.
Alright,
Sweet.
And that means I can press a button and make it so that Rimshee is also here. Hey, Rimshee.
Don't forget to send Rimshee the My Circle link.
Oh. You know, not gonna lie, if you hadn't just told me that, I would have forgotten.
Yeah.
Rimshee, I love you. I'm also just, like, dead. I had, like, 2 hours of sleep last night.
2 hours of sleep plus alcohol.
2 hours of sleep plus alcohol plus doing this right after I got home from a 10-hour shift.
Yeah, no worries. I've already got my notes all set up. I went through this and took timestamp notes.
Oh my god, I love you. Alright.
Yeah. So you're set.
Yep.
Alright, let's get the show on the road. Click that My Circle link. When I see that you're there, we're going to talk about 30 caliber magazine clips or whatever other stupid shit just happened.
Yeah, the first thing I'm going to want to say is watch this guy's stance. It's fucking horrible.
Alright, so before we even play the video, just looking at this... Okay, so I've done a little bit of martial arts, and by when I say a little bit, I've done a little bit of a lot of different martial arts. And one of the things that you pick up pretty quickly is how to stand, how to fall, you know, how to take a hit. And in general, your stance is one of the first core things you work on. That and your breathing, among other things. Pretend he doesn't have the gun in his hand. Pretend he's just standing there like that. I could, with almost no effort, knock him flat on his ass, because, oh, you guys can probably see my cursor when I do this, actually. His shoulders here, like, his center of gravity is down here, probably near where his belly button is, and his shoulders tilted over it, and looking at, like, the way his legs are down there, he's not supporting himself well. He's just asking to be tipped over. So he's not bracing himself against anything. He's leaning away from the gun like he's afraid of it, and just asking to fall.
Yeah.
You know, if you're boxing, it's a terrible stance.
Yeah, I've taught a couple people how to shoot. An ex-girlfriend, I taught my dad how to shoot. Taught my brother how to shoot. Everyone that I have taught how to shoot, always do this. They lean as far. They put their shoulder back as if they're trying to put the center of gravity of the gun right in line with their center of gravity, and no, you got to do what in the Marines, my primary marksmanship expert person from boot camp. I forget what those guys are called all of a sudden, but he always told us the dick of death. You know,
I like
get
that.
the dick of death going. Like you find this ex that you really fucking hate. And you just, you line her up and you get really back, you stretch back there, and right before you're ready to thrust, that's the stance you want to be in, because, you know, the rest of it is just, take it!
So, legs spread, knees a little bit bent, you know, maybe actually leaning forward a bit if you're really scared of the recoil. You know,
definitely lean forward. It's better to lean forward.
Well, you want to lean into it so that you're braced against it, because regardless of anything you're doing, you never want whatever you're doing to push you over your center of gravity. You want to compensate for that. So it's
same
deal with like hitting a baseball.
It's surprising how much you think you're leaning forward when you're not. Like, however forward you feel like you're leaning, you're probably not if it's your first time at the range.
So, weird question that you don't have to answer. Rimshee, where do you live?
I live in California.
Gotcha. Well,
fun shit.
Depending on the living situation in the next few years, if I end up out near where you are, I'll let you know, and I would be happy to have you show me how to shoot, because I don't know what I'm doing at all.
I would be happy to teach you. Hell, there are plenty of people I'd be happy to teach.
Yeah,
as long as you... It's similar to when people... I've had plenty of parents, when they find out that I spent 5 years in the Marine Corps, they're like, "Oh, can you talk to my son? Can you talk to my son? Because he's thinking about joining the military." Well, what do you want me to do? And because I may not end up doing that. I may end up just telling them, "Hey, get out, don't do this because it's not really what you're looking for." Or I may say, "Yeah, this sounds like a perfect opportunity for you." I've actually had a couple parents say, "Nope, we don't want you talking to our kids," after hearing that I would find out why they want to do it first.
Yeah, that actually sounds like... I mean, I respect you a whole hell of a lot based on the conversations we've had, but that kicks it up a little higher for me. Because one of those things, it's like, hey... which thing do like if someone's asking to buy a car, let's say, it's like, hey, what car should I buy? Any answer I'd give would start with, well, what do you want it for? You know, and that idea of like, well, why do you want to do this? I'm either going to tell you it's very good or very bad depending on what you're looking for. I think that's a very honest way to go about things, and it's probably something that really helps out a lot of people in your life.
It should. I mean, it doesn't help out the kids whose parents don't want me to find out, so that I don't talk them into it.
Yeah.
But then there's pretend the army's drugs, and then everything gets better. No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Then there's people like my younger brother who ended up he was going through a time, and he's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to decide what to go forward, and I asked, and he said, "I'm thinking about going into the military." Ears perked up immediately. "What branch do you think you'd want to go into?" Of course, Marines. Good boy. But it was something that he just didn't think about, or he didn't pursue until I actually went to the recruiter and got information for him. And I didn't push him into it, but I got him the information, because otherwise he was just going to sit there and stare at it.
Yeah.
Right. That makes sense to me. I mean, to move it to something that I have a little bit more familiarity with, though admittedly not much, a lot of people with substance abuse problems will, say that they want to do something about it, but they won't actually get into a program until somebody, gets them to the first meeting or shows them the information as like, here, look, you have options. There's something about doing that makes the decision more real for somebody.
Sometimes people just need a little bit of shove in any direction for them to realize, no, I don't want to do this, or yes, this is for me.
Actually, before we do the video, that reminds me of something, just legit thing I love to do because it's super helpful for me because I can be really indecisive at times. If I'm trying to decide between two things, like two menu choices on like at a restaurant or which thing I want to do, whatever it is, right? What I'll do is I'll flip a coin. I'll pick like that one's heads, this one's tails, and I'll flip a coin, and then I'll just look at the result, right? I don't actually go with what the result is. I'll look at it, and if let's say it comes up tails, and I'm disappointed with that, I'll do the other thing.
Yeah.
Because it like all of a sudden it's like it takes all that possibility of like, well, maybe I could do this or that, and it crystallizes it right into, bam, you just lost the thing you actually wanted, or bam, you just got the thing you actually wanted. And sometimes it's really hard to know what you want until you're confronted with that. It's a good trick.
Yeah, you're forcing yourself to have a real reaction to what you want or don't want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've seen a similar method employed several different ways, but it's always the same. Well, then just do this. But now you have your answer because you know what's more important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's having the choice forced in some way. And what I like about the coin flip thing is that just it's so easy to do, where I can just flip coin, catch it, look at it, be like, oh, that's what I want to do. Because despite what a lot of people like to think, you do not always know what you want, and sometimes you got to go through steps to figure it out. So I am totally happy to jump into this and have you tell me about all the reasons why a 30 caliber magazine clip is stupid. Sorry, I love that video.
That's for you,
Keep in mind, I've got something like 12 or 14 different notes on this 2-minute video.
All right.
So you may hear me say pause a fair amount.
Oh, please do. Stop it anytime. Let me know when you're ready for it to go. I'll just hit play.
I am set. Just everyone, watch how shitty this guy's stance is.
Bam.
This is what an AR-15 sounds like. General Mark Hertling, sir.
So I'm actually going to pause there because this is something that does piss me off. So, full disclosure, never shot a gun. Been around a lot of them, or enough of them at least. And also done enough with audio engineering and just in general recording and all that. I did radio for like a few years, and then now doing this. Recording things is not how the thing actually sounds almost ever. Or at least not to your ears. So it's like, this is how this sounds. No, it's not. That's how the recording sounds. I guarantee you in person that sounds different.
Oh yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah.
You generally have hearing protection in, but they're also in an enclosed space, so the sound is reverberating off the walls and distorting.
Not to mention, consider that how the sound is going to actually hit on whatever microphone they're using is going to change how it sounds. For example, I have a pop filter in front of my mic because, if I'm just talking to you and I say, pop or something like that, it sounds normal. Going into a mic, it doesn't sound that way. It makes the recording sound weird. So there's all kinds of funky stuff with audio and how sound works and the physics of it and all kinds of crazy stuff. Point is, when they say that this is what an AR-15 sounds like, they're wrong. That is not what it sounds like. That's what the recording sounds like.
Accurate. Also, like I was saying, that guy's stance was shit. Yeah. I told you, they try and get it over center of gravity, and this guy had it nowhere near braced on his shoulder. It was just flopping everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like he was taking a stance from, like, Scarface.
This just in, CNN, reporter people use lots of cocaine. Good to know.
Well,
that's not fake news. So I do have to go on about that. Like, it's a similar thing with suppressors and all that, because what a suppressor does to the sound of a gun, it doesn't make it silent. If you've ever watched the Bourne movies, those are lies. It doesn't, make this little pew sound. It doesn't do that. It makes it maybe quiet enough that it's not going to damage your hearing. That's still really loud.
That is exactly what it does. They're designed to reduce it to the point that you don't need hearing protection. That's it.
Yeah.
They're still very loud. I mean, a pig, for comparison, a pig can scream as loud as a jet engine, and if it's, far enough away, that won't necessarily damage your hearing. And a gunshot is louder than that. It just doesn't seem like it, because it's a very, very fast thing. It's a momentary sound, and you barely even notice that you heard it until afterwards.
It's a contained explosion.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's the... It, lowers it to roughly the sound of a jackhammer.
Yeah, roughly. It does depend on the suppressor, but it's roughly... Your average is going to be right past that. That's probably going to be what you're aiming for, at least.
Yeah, even so, there's a lot of these little things that, oh, this is what a gun sounds like. No, it's not. It's almost every gun I've ever heard fired sound, and again, admittedly, my experience is lacking in this regard. It sounds like a very, very sharp crack, and then an echo. And the echo is what people are used to hearing. Is like the report, I think, is probably the technical term. But that sharp crack beforehand, depending on what's being shot, how far away from it you are, what kind of hearing protection you have, you might even not even notice that sound compared to all the other sound going on around, because it's not loud, but because it's really fast. But
yeah, it's it's breaking the sound barrier in certain cases. You have your subsonic round and your supersonic round. Mm-hmm. Either way, it's a contained explosion, but the supersonic rounds also contain that sonic blast or sonic boom. Absolutely.
But it's also, just to generalize it out, sorry not to go on about this, but this is a thing I care about. It's very easy to damage your hearing without knowing you're doing it. So when things might not sound all that loud, they're a lot louder than you think they are. So just in general, be careful with your hearing. If you rupture an eardrum, you're probably going to deal with some permanent hearing loss. And there's not necessarily anything you can do about that.
Even if you don't, I know this one teacher that he works in the trades, or used to work. He's retired now. And as a result of all the construction sounds, and then when he was younger, he went to rock concerts and stood right next to the speakers without hearing protection. He now has 2 hearing aids. Well, he has one cochlear implant and a hearing aid in the other ear.
Yeah, that was going to be me. I like death metal a lot, so...
Your hearing is important. Protect it.
Yeah, I only started wearing hearing protection when I go to shows like a year ago. But it's because I noticed my hearing was starting to go to shit.
Oh yeah, it's going to continue going to shit. Even with the hearing protection, because it's residual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm fucked.
Someday, get me talking about hearing aids, because I honestly think they're some of the coolest shit, because... I think prosthetics are just a super interesting thing, and hearing aids are incredible technology. I'm amazed at how far they've come. But conversation for another time. Get me going about it some other time.
Yeah, I have a deaf friend we could bring on to talk about that a bit.
Oh, I'd be down. Do we have to type, or are the hearing do the hearing aids actually like make him able to hear?
He's not 100% deaf, so yeah, he'll be able to hear with hearing aids. He might have to type. Or fuck.
Oh,
I'm not going to sign language anymore.
We'll talk about it after the show. That sounds actually like a lot of fun. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play. I promise I'm not going to pause it when something pisses me off. I'll leave that to you.
No. U.S. Army for 37 years, so he knows what the AR-15, which used to be a weapon of war, can do.
Pause.
And he has strong feeling.
So. The AR-15 is not and has never been a weapon of war. This is factually incorrect right here.
Yeah, it wasn't made for civilian use, just modeled after like an M16 sort of
the
thing?
M16 is the firearm made for the military. The AR-15, or Armalite rifle 15, so it was their 15th model of rifle, is the civilian version of that. As in general, it's only a single fire weapon, a semi-automatic. But
actually,
we'll get into that later.
To go on a quick little...
4 seconds.
Yeah, to go on a quick little tangent here, I'm just gonna pop that up. I don't think you can see it on... those of you can see it on the stream. Just look at that for a moment. I'll show it to Rimshee after the video so he can bitch about it.
Oh, Rimshee's seen that. We were talking about this.
Okay, cool. I do want to get you to go through and just be like, this is wrong, here's why, this is wrong, here's why. Just, I do want you to do that.
Not a problem.
All right, so... AR-15,
we'll talk about that later.
First off, AR does not stand for assault rifle, stands for Armalite rifle. It's a branding thing, or at least a model thing. Not while not being nearly as serious a mistake, it'd be kind of looking at the GMC on a car and saying, that stands for the General Motors Company. No, General Motors Company is GM. GMC is a different thing.
So, hold on. Brett's triggered as fuck in the chat.
Tell me about it afterwards. I would love to see him in pain.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Brad. If this talk of firearms isn't pissing you off enough, we can talk sports later. I'm gonna go ahead and hit play.
Brad wants us to bring him on so he can scream at us.
If we have time, we will. All right, and
yeah, all right,
and post.
It's about the semi-automatic assault-style rifle, which is the precursor to a weapon currently used by the military.
Okay, pause.
M4.
Assault-style rifle is one of these catch-all words that they use that means absolutely nothing. The term assault rifle actually means that the rifle has select fire capability, meaning you can it can be set. It has settings so you can go one shot, semi-automatic, one pull of the trigger equals 1 round down range, or it can be set to burst or full auto or both. Which burst, generally what you'll see is 3-round burst, where one pull of the trigger sends 3 rounds down, or full auto. You hold the trigger down until the magazine is empty.
So spray and pray.
Or you let go.
Don't you mean clip?
Yeah, that 30 caliber magazine clip. I'm sorry, that phrase is never gonna not be funny to me anymore.
Okay, if you want me to go into this real quick,
No.
the difference between a clip and a magazine is a magazine contains the rounds within the rifle and can actually be fed. Is actually considered part of the rifle, so to say. That's you can have removable magazines like with the AR, or you have tube mags with mostly you see those with 22, but you're thinking the style, the underbarrel magazine you'd see with a shotgun, for example.
So my understanding of this I'm going to interject here just as something of a layman on this, because again, have not handled many firearms. The magazine would be the thing that holds the bullets, but that is still part of the weapon. So usually the spring-loaded thing that you see, let's say the curved bit on an AK-47 that is not a handle that pops in there that the bullets get pushed up into the chamber from.
That's true.
Right.
Meanwhile, a clip holds the bullets together. In fact, I have a picture. I took a couple pictures to show examples of this stuff. I'm gonna DM it to you real quick.
Okay.
And or I'll just put it in the chat. But
oh wait, in the
you can pop that. No.
Yeah, there
I got it on.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, I will go ahead and open that. And you know what? I will go ahead and add that as a source very briefly here. So, oh man, I'm breaking character. I'm not supposed to show you what's behind the curtain. What sort of stage magician am I?
Don't give away the secrets. Don't give away the behind.
But anyway, on the left side of this picture, whenever it comes on screen, you see those those green tipped rounds on that rail device. That thing right there that the ammunition is attached to is called a stripper clip.
So
it
one moment here, I'm going to go ahead and cut this down a bit. Oh boy, something just happened on the screen. Oh, I see what happened. Everything's fine. No, everything's fine. I just kind of...
You're giving away too much of the behind-the-scenes shit.
Yeah, so for those of you guys watching, I'm just going to go ahead and blow this up real big so you can see what Rimshee's talking about here. So go ahead and start that explanation over if you wouldn't mind. And we are not talking about the calipers. Those are for measuring things.
Yeah, that... I'm talking about right next to the brown cardboard box that says 5.56 mm at the top of that black lettering. You see the 9... green-tipped bullets on what looks like a retention rail. That's called a stripper clip. That is an example of a clip. It's just meant to retain the bullets. In this case, a stripper clip, you put it against the magazine and you can push the ammunition down into the magazine and the stripper clip comes off and is discarded afterwards.
So compare this to something that everybody would know about.
Like the... What was that?
Sorry, so to compare this to something that I think actually everyone's probably familiar with, if you go ahead and go out and pick up like a 6-pack of Coke from the from the store, that plastic shit is the clip. Whereas if you were to go and get a Coke out of a vending machine, the reservoir in the machine that holds the Coke that would be a magazine. Assuming that the vending machine in question is a gun.
I don't know why you guys go to stores to get your Coke. Oh.
But is that actually like an accurate metaphor there? Does that make sense?
That's not far off. I mean, it's a good way of explaining it. However, you have to keep in mind that in certain firearms, the clip does go inside the magazine.
Okay.
Like I forget if it was the M14 or the M1. I think it was the M1. Once you put the clip and the ammunition inside the magazine, and you'd fire off your 5 rounds, and after that 5th round, that clip would come flying out and make a lot of noise. But that's an example of a clip that goes inside a magazine.
So a clip is literally a clip that just holds onto the rounds, regardless of if it's outside a firearm, inside a firearm, doesn't matter. It's just the thing that holds them together. Whereas a magazine is actually the reservoir that holds them for the gun, and then depending on whatever mechanism is used to actually load them into the chamber, allows them to be loaded into the chamber. So if you were using, let's say, a semi-automatic, it would be the kind of thing that would be spring-loaded and just pop another round up in there, complete with just kind of how a semi-automatic works. Whereas if you're using, let's say, a bolt-action rifle, it wouldn't necessarily do that immediately, but you'd have to actually pull the bolt back and do all your shit.
Actually, a magazine in both situations does the exact same thing. The difference between a semi-automatic and a bolt-action is a bolt-action, you pull the trigger, it sends the firing pin forward, hits the primer, sends the round down range, and then you manually have to rotate the bolt, pull it back, which ejects the prior round, push the bolt forward, and the bolt pushes the next round into the chamber, and then lock the bolt. Whereas a semi-automatic, all of that happens automatically.
So, and this is something I'm actually a little unclear on. One of the things I've heard about both semi-automatic and fully automatic firearms is that they use, in part, the recoil of the shot fired to push back that, basically push back the bolt and open up the chamber and then, load the next round. Is that actually true or not?
Yes. It depends on what kind of mechanism. So a pistol generally just uses the impulse backward to cause it uses physics, equal and opposite reaction, to send the bolt back and cycle. Okay. Whereas, for example, the AR-15, which they're talking about in this video, the bolt is locked in place, and the round is going down the barrel. It'll hit a point in the barrel where the gas will escape through a hole up into what's known as the gas block, which redirects it down the gas tube, I know creative names, back all the way down to the bolts, which causes it to get pushed back. It sends the entire bolt carrier group back and allows for the cycling to happen.
So if someone were talking about a gas-assisted mechanism, they're referring to that mechanism.
There are two different methods. What I just described was direct gas impingement, and then there's piston-driven, which instead of the gas going all the way back, it just actuates a piston, which pushes everything back.
Okay.
Which is what your AK would have.
Got it.
All right.
And so I take it the latter is actually a simpler mechanism in a lot of cases.
No, the direct gas impingement is a lot simpler.
Really? So
yeah.
My assumption there comes from the fact that I've heard that AK-47s are incredibly reliable weapons, even when submerged in a swamp and such. And I usually think simple means reliable, and vice versa.
No, it's definitely more of a reliable firearm in that a good one can just shoot rounds for a long time, no matter how dirty it is. And then prime example is this other channel, Iraq Veteran 8888, did a AK-47 meltdown video along with an AR meltdown video. They did 2 AK meltdown videos actually, and their cheap AK. The barrel started to droop and pulled the gas piston out of alignment and all that stuff. All it took was a trailer hitch in a tree to fix that AK and get it back into firing order.
That was impressive. By the way, I will go ahead and pull up that channel after the stream, everything, and put it in the description for anyone who wants to check that out.
All right. Whereas the AR that they did, it lasted for a lot more rounds, but when it did go, the barrel went.
So it's intended. So when used in its intended use, it lasted longer, but with abnormal conditions, it broke.
We're not talking. We're not even talking normal conditions. These were both the AR and the AK were fired on full auto.
Okay.
And they're not. They may have full auto capabilities, but we're talking like the guy was literally putting the magazine in, pulling the trigger till it was empty, dropping the magazine and putting another one in, and just going until it failed.
I've seen a few videos like that.
Interesting.
Anyways, we should continue on because we're only 25 seconds into this.
Absolutely. I mean, without going into any of the debate about gun control, which we do not want to get into here, these machines are way more complicated than people give them credit for, and they're really, really interesting, if only for the engineering and the physics. And I urge anyone who's at all interested in any of the stuff that's been said, where it's like, wow, that's complicated machines, I want to check that out. Please do some research into it, because these things are cool.
Oh, yeah. They
and if anybody does want to get into a gun control discussion with at least me, I'm willing to. I'm always hanging out in the Discord.
Yeah, likewise, me as well. Again, I will totally confess my lack of experience with a lot of this stuff. I have my positions on it, generally, pro-gun rather than anti-gun, but I am absolutely willing to have my mind changed and to have people, tell me what's what. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play. Rimshee, tell us what it pisses you off.
The truth of the matter is, they look almost exactly the same.
So this is the M4 military rifle.
Right.
This is the AR-15.
Right. A lot of people will buy this just because it's cool and they want to appear like soldiers. If you're a gun collector...
Now, I know that's a lie.
Oh, it's an absolutely lie. We bought this because we want to look cool and look like no. The likelihood of that being a reason some guy buys an AR-15 is beyond slim, because the real reason most people buy the AR is because of how versatile of a firearm it is. It's a very modular weapon. You can,
and it looks cool.
not to the AK fanboys.
I am a fan of the AKs.
Rimshee, this may have been a conversation that you and I had. I'm not sure because I don't remember too well. But somebody was telling me that they managed to modify an AR-15 platform to take a P90 clip. Or, sorry, P90 magazine. I'm sorry, I'm drunk. It's not my fault. But a P90 magazine. Which is really strange to me, because for anyone who doesn't know what the P90 magazine looks like, and I will, again, lack of experience here, but I think P90s are really cool looking. The P90 magazine... Oh, yeah,
no, I like the P90.
Yeah, it has all the bullets loaded in sideways, so perpendicular to the direction of the barrel. So if you picture the barrel being one stick, like just one kind of direction, all of the bullets in a P90 magazine are loaded at a 90-degree angle to it, so at a right angle, sideways. And then that magazine is put in across the top of the weapon, and there's a little twisty thing, like spring little thing at the bottom, like kind of at the bottom, back, front, however you end up loading it.
Here, let's put up a picture.
Oh, if you've got one, that would be great.
I got a link to a picture.
Please send me one. They're really, really interesting, and it's just bizarre, and I look at them and I'm like, how does this function? How does this make sense?
If you've ever seen Stargate SG-1, that is the firearm they mainly use, is the P90.
Yeah, and let's see. I think I can just re-enable the source here. Yeah, there it is. So there's the P90. It's a submachine gun. Like that's that big hole your thumb goes in that, at least in part. It's kind of cute little gun. But that sort of coppery colored thing at the top there, that's the magazine, and all those bullets are turned sideways, and they turn when loaded into the chamber. It's interesting and weird and bizarre.
The chamber is at the back. The chamber's at the back of the magazine where that little bulge on the firearm is. Yeah, because a bit rotates there so that it can turn the rounds
Right, and if I remember correctly, and I don't know if it was you, it was somebody in this Discord was telling me about a modified, it was an AR-15 platform modified to take that magazine, and instead of having a bottom-loading magazine, which is, again, that big curved thing that is definitely not a handle in an AK-47, at least that's for those of us who don't have much experience with it, that's what we would see. That was left empty, and the shell, so where the gunpowder's held after the bullet is fired, would just fall out of that. And it was
if anyone wants to see a better image of the P90 magazine, check in the general chat of the YouTube Saints Discord. Reisu just put one up there.
Thanks, Reisu. I appreciate that a lot. In general, I mentioned that because that is, you have this absurd, crazy, submachine gun that is, and by submachine gun, it's semi-automatic. It's a cool
weapon.
No.
The P90 does have select fire.
I'm aware
I think
of that,
it's
but it's
XP90 that is the civilian version.
Oh, okay,
P91,
that's probably what I was
like
thinking of. But in general, when it's tiny, it's not a huge rifle. Like this is, in terms of size, it's a middling step between something like a sidearm, so a pistol, let's say, and a rifle. It's neat. They're cool. I really like the look of it. I find it aesthetically pleasing. Even so, they had to invent a whole bunch of new stuff just to make this firearm, just to build it. Like that magazine was innovative. No one else had ever done something like it before. And then you can take an AR-15 platform, which people seem to think of as a basic, gun. It's normal. It's whatever it is, and modify it to take that. So when you say versatile, yeah, I agree if that's possible.
All right.
Yeah.
So
the point is, you can. Yeah, I'm gonna finish up with this, and then we can keep going.
Yep.
Right. My point is that you can switch out what magazine it uses. You can switch out the barrel. You can switch out what round fires down. And you can do that with relative ease. In fact, because it's two halves, you've got a lower receiver and an upper receiver. You can switch out that upper receiver with relative ease, and you can, with the same lower receiver, the same part that is considered the firearm, go between a bunch of different possibilities. They even make a crossbow attachment for this thing, a crossbow upper for this thing.
Rimshee, you and I are going to talk about that later, because that sounds amazing. We'll save it for later, but that sounds incredible. I'm going to hit play.
Or a gun aficionado and you want an AR-15, you can certainly buy one, and you should be able to buy one. The problem is when it gets in the hands of the wrong people.
Pause real quick.
Originally built for the battlefield, a defining characteristic.
All right.
Now, just real quick, just a couple of seconds. The problem with any weapon is when it gets into the wrong hands. Whether it be a firearm, whether it be a rifle, a pistol, a shotgun, a knife, a bat, a sword, a rope, piano wire, shoes, or a fist. When it's in the hand of the wrong person, that's the problem. It's no different with a firearm.
Speaking of which, when I am beating someone to death, I prefer not to use my own fist, but the fist of a prior victim. So in that case, when that weapon falls into the hands of the wrong person, I grip that firmly by the metacarpals and swing it like a flail. Sorry, I'm going to keep going.
The only thing...
Quit hitting yourself.
There's also plenty I want to say about this expert stance, but for the sake of time, let's keep going.
Yeah.
We might have to bring you back on and do a part 2 for this.
The AR-15 is the speed and power of the bullet.
Hold on.
So like I know muzzle velocity actually matters quite a bit because physics.
Like I said, this is not a firearm that is known for that. It's known for its modularity.
All right.
So you can do funky stuff with it, but it's not necessarily badass. And
hold on. The best part of this video is coming up. So
I've never seen.
Yeah,
by the way, the reason I keep commenting
note.
on this, I've never seen this before, so this is completely new to me. This is usually what happens. Japles just sends me stuff, and I'm like, yeah, sure, let's go with that.
The best part is my next note. So let's go.
Yeah.
Now those are single shots. If I wanted to fire this on full semi-automatic, all I do is keep firing.
Yes. Full semi-automatic.
that is not a thing. Now, given the context, he's talking about pulling the trigger as fast as you can, but that's still semi-automatic. There is no such term in actual guns as full semi-automatic.
I'm not going to comment right now because I know it's going to be too long. Hitting play.
Now, I won't probably hit the target when I do this, when we look at the target later on, but I'm going to fire about 5 shots.
Okay.
It's a weapon designed to inflict maximum damage.
Pause!
Pretty sure weapons designed to inflict maximum damage include howitzers, Davy Crockett's, and ICBMs.
Well,
just saying in general.
Here's the big thing about this. They're talking about it as if the firearm itself is designed to inflict maximum damage. No. The firearm itself is designed to be accurate and reliably pump out the rounds. If what's designed to cause damage is the projectile itself. Now, that depends on how much powder you have in there, how heavy the bullet itself is, how it's designed. For example, is it a full metal jacket, which means it's covered in copper, or if it's a hollow point. But these are the factors that determine how much damage a bullet does, or how much damage is done when using a firearm, not the gun itself.
So to distill that down, what matters is what sort of round you load into it, because there's a huge amount of variation of what kind of rounds a gun can shoot. Even if the gun itself has some sort of measurement or something where it's like, oh, this shoots 9mm rounds. There's a lot of different 9mm rounds.
We can get into that if we have time.
We probably don't, but point is...
We probably don't.
Well,
maybe
the gun itself is not necessarily what determines the killing power, or the stopping power, rather.
Yeah. And what this guy's about to say, I'm sure he's seen that, but it's probably not from the M16 or the 5.56 round. The Smithonian did a video where they checked a scene from Platoon where the dude gets shot in the chest 3 times and is still able to run to a helicopter by an M16, and they actually tested it on ballistics gel, which is not the best medium, but it's fairly close, and it's a good example of this thing does not do maximum damage.
Gotcha. If I remember correctly, not to go on about this, but a lot of the rounds that you could use that would do quote-unquote maximum damage are, I think, covered under the Geneva Convention as things that you just do not use.
No.
I might be wrong about that, but I don't know this, but I suspect that there's certain regulations, I wouldn't necessarily say laws, but guidelines and such about what kind of rounds you use on living people.
To some extent.
Yeah, so it's there are definitely rounds that could do a lot more damage that you don't shoot at people. At least cops
effectively no
don't.
hollow points.
Yeah. So, also, I just noticed this President Trump appears to be backing away from 21-year age limit for assault weapon purchase. I'm pretty sure Anita opposes this very hard. Definitely. She's like, you gotta do... She's like, no, they gotta be 21 before they can buy any assault weapon, including a knife, for butter. That you use to assault someone. Sorry, just...
As much as I disagree with Ben Shapiro, I'm in the same camp as him when it comes to that. How about we just decide when somebody is a fucking adult, and then we just give them shit when they turn that age?
There was a time when the drinking age was 18. I blame insurance companies. Conversation for another day. Let's keep going.
Soldiers who have been hit by this weapon and enemies who have been hit by this weapon, where it will literally tear out the inside of the body. I saw one soldier who was hit in a fratricide incident in the shoulder, and the round came out his ass.
The general shares the prevailing opinion of this Tampa gun shop we're visiting.
Hold on.
The shooting...
Hold on. The guy got shot in the shoulder and it came out his ass?
Now, the only
I've heard a story of someone getting shot in the shoulder and 10 years later shitting out a bullet.
Okay, now here's what I will say about that, because here's the reason why I didn't pause it. If that's a dead-on shot, yeah, absolutely. That's coming out the back of the shoulder, not the ass. If it's a shot from more head direction, so he's in prone or laying down or something, and the shot comes in the shoulder from above, relative to the body, it could come out the ass cheek.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to pause there because that seems a little fudging the facts on that whole situation.
Yeah, and real quick, since we have it paused,
okay.
Notice how what they're saying, what they're about to say, they are speaking for the range, but they're not talking to the range owner or anything like that.
Okay. That is useful to know. Also, before we keep going, I do want to say I have a little bit of a statement after this video about that idea of a bullet tearing out your insides, because I do have a little bit of experience with that. So, boom.
For its firearms range, that the Second Amendment is sacred. But there is also agreement this weapon is definitely not for every gun owner.
In my personal opinion, you have to receive a whole lot of training to use this weapon. And this weapon in the wrong hands can be more dangerous than most weapons because of its capability to do a lot of damage in a short period of time.
Pause.
And be
actually,
before you say anything, bombs.
We'll finish this out and then I'll say it.
Just saying, bombs do a lot of damage.
Reversible.
Yeah, exactly. If you want a lot of damage in a short amount of time, use a bomb. A bomb is going to do a lot more damage. The AR-15 is point and aim and fire, but you're not going to get a lot of damage. The reason people use it is because they get more well known.
Right.
And then on top of that, since we've been talking about firearms, I just want to go over some weapon safety real quick.
Oh, hold on. Before you do that, also keep in mind, people, Virginia Tech was done with handguns, not rifles.
Also, Rimshee, I just went ahead and popped up that in the past 72 hours, we've heard these phrases from politicians and journalists. I will want you to just very briefly just go in, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. The brief thing I want to say.
I can do that.
Yeah, the brief thing I want to say. Do you have the image available? Just so
I can see it. I can see it.
So
we have about 20 minutes before.
Okay. So the big thing that I want to say about a bullet just tearing apart the insides and all that, you can do that with a 9mm. You can do that with a 9mm that's not even a hollow point. You can do that very well, because what happens, and you can actually see this if you look at videos of rounds being shot into ballistic gel, when that bullet hits you, a lot of your body is liquid, right? So or at least fluid, so it flows, it moves, there's a shock wave. Your organs are not that tough. You can rupture a kidney from getting punched the wrong way in the back, and not even that hard. Bodies are relatively fragile. We're pretty tough, we can survive a lot of stuff, you can survive losing a leg, but damage to your internal organs sticks around and tends to be a big problem. It's even if
checkmate creationists.
Yeah, even if this is actually something that happens a lot when you work in EMS, which I've had some limited experience with. When a car crash happens, even if you are safer because of the seatbelt, even if that seatbelt would keep you from getting thrown from the vehicle, which may very well hurt you very, very badly, or slam your head into the steering wheel and break your neck or something like that. Just the force of you hitting that seatbelt can cause awful contusions and internal bleeding all throughout your body, because that's going all the way across your torso. When a bullet goes through you, the basic idea is that because friction and stuff like that exists, and other physics stuff, your body doesn't flow quite fast enough to sort of keep up with that shockwave, so things break. Yes, you can tear somebody apart with a bullet, but an AR-15 is not the only gun that can do this. Just about any gun can do this, because that's what bullets do. That's how they hurt you. It's the entry wound is usually very tiny on a gunshot wound. The exit wound is huge because of that shockwave. And then someone getting shot in the hip could rupture, could rupture kidney on the opposite side easily. That's very possible. It's one of the big issues when you're dealing with emergency medicine. is that a gunshot, to anywhere in the torso can have ramifications anywhere else in the torso. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that guns are extremely dangerous. Knife wounds are actually harder to treat in some respects, but not to get into that. The point is, an AR-15 is not special in this regard. Any firearm can do that and is tremendously dangerous to an individual if they're shot with it. Because, dear God, getting shot is dangerous.
Oh, my best friend shot himself in the leg. And he had a hollow... It was a hollow .22 that he had in the chamber of this revolver. And he was cleaning it and failed to check every chamber to make sure it was clear. Well, he has since learned his lesson, but as a result, he has an entry wound, an exit wound from one of the fragmentations that decided to pop out, and in the same picture you can see a little bump where another one was close to the skin. And he's going to see an orthopedic surgeon on tomorrow to see about what the ER couldn't get out. Any firearm can cause damage, and in fact some bullets are designed to do more damage than others.
Now, that and that being absolutely true, I agree with that 100%. Before anyone starts going here like, oh, these guys are saying that guns are awful and all that. I'm actually fairly pro-Second Amendment and fairly pro-gun. Keep in mind, human bodies are fairly fragile. You can kill somebody by punching them the wrong way. You can cause these kinds of organ ruptures and organ failures by a lot of different kinds of blunt trauma, by a lot of different kinds of, let's say, lacerations, stabbing, that kind of thing. Knife fights are awful because they're very, very difficult to actually treat somebody afterwards. If someone's been stabbed, you might be able to save them, but that's a whole lot of damage that's very, very, very hard to treat. Same deal with a gunshot wound, same deal with certain poisons, same deal with a car crash, same deal with any number of ways that you can be injured. Yes.
A rolled up, wetted down newspaper that was pretty much turned into a paper mache knife.
Yeah, that happened. But firearms are absolutely weapons. It's what they're built for. It's what they're intended for. So, depending on who you ask, are knives. That also doesn't depend. That also is true of anything you choose to use as a weapon. It might not be designed that way, but you can certainly use that way. A brick can do a lot of damage to somebody.
In the Marine Corps, we're taught to use weapons of opportunity, which could be pocket sand. It could be a tire. It could be a fucking tire. If you find a tire and you can use it as a weapon, that's a weapon of opportunity. A 2x4 is a weapon of opportunity.
Right.
Generally
speaking, my position on a lot of this stuff, again, not to get into the debate on it, but this is just something that is really, really important, I think, for everybody to understand if you're listening and this is not a position you hold. Guns, knives, cars, poison, any weapon you can imagine. People can die because of them, but somebody has to pull the trigger. So either that is somebody being negligent,
or literally.
Right, somebody has to be negligent in using them and have an accident, or somebody has to be malicious in using them and cause harm to somebody else. But either way, people kill people. Either by negligence, by accident, by not taking care of themselves or others around them, by not taking proper precautions, or by being malicious. The problem isn't the mechanism used to do so, in my opinion, at least. The problem is the people using them, either by incompetence or malice.
Yeah, people are going to hurt people regardless. Little background on me, my dad works at a prison, and the kinds of things he's told me he's found weapons made out of are fucking remarkable. Like a crossbow made out of newspaper and the elastic band from some underwear.
But sorry to head something off. I'll be very quick about this. The reason I make that the distinctions I just made and say that the way I do is, regardless of what anyone else is going to do, you personally be very careful in your own life. There are so many things that exist in your daily life that you could hurt yourself with. Cars, Tylenol, alcohol. So very, very many things, many of which are poisonous, many of which are not. Be careful. Preserve your own life. Work to understand the tools and mechanisms and substances that you use and protect yourself. Because that's how you're going to keep yourself safe.
And that's
my moral of the story.
And before we get a bunch of the pro-weed people saying, well, weed's perfectly safe, no. I had a buddy that got carbon monoxide poisoning because he was trying to hit a 7-foot-tall bomb.
Jesus Christ, no. To be fair, if you're gonna get carbon monoxide poisoning, that's the way to do it.
I'm just saying, not even weed is completely safe, guys. Be careful out there.
Water has an LD50, it's more than your body weight, but it's there.
Yeah. All right. So let's
honestly, Rimshee. Rimshee. I honestly, Jables, unless you have anything to close out the show, because I pretty much don't at this point. Rimshee, I kind of want to just let you go until you're done, and then we just close out the show on that.
I would be perfectly fine with that. I will read through these real quick and give my down and dirty statements on them, and then I'll get into weapon safety because I don't want to talk about firearms without talking about weapon safety.
Agreed.
All right. Fully semi-automatic. We already talked about that. That's fucking stupid. Gas-assisted receiver firearms. That's a semi-automatic rifle that has a gas tube or a piston. That's just an overly complicated way to try and get around the nomenclature that exists. Machine gun magazines. That would be a magazine for a machine gun, but there's really no point in that because most machine guns, quote-unquote, are actually belt-fed.
So that's where you see like a chain of bullets, right?
Ones that are actually designed to be machine guns usually have 100-round drums that are belt-fed. So it's a complete bullshit thing anyway. You're talking about a fully automatic rifle. High-capacity rapid-fire magazines. High capacity depends on the rifle. The AR-15, its standard capacity magazine is a 30-round magazine because that's what it's designed to use. And rapid-fire magazines don't exist because rapid-fire has to do with the firearm itself. AR does not stand...
strong spring.
No. AR does not stand for assault rifle. We covered that. It's armor light rifle. And high magazine clip...
Remember, everybody,
someone who doesn't know shit.
Just remember, you've got these 30 caliber magazine clips. Oh, that video is great. I'm gonna link that in the description as well because it's too damn funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you guys some links so that you can put some information out there. The difference between semi-auto, full auto, and burst auto will be on there as well. But let's finish out. Let's finish out with some weapon safety. There are 5 weapon safety rules, or 4, depending on who you're talking to. In the Marine Corps, we have the official 4 weapon safety rules, and the not included, but still very important 5th weapon safety rule. And then a bunch of civilian places apparently use a 4 weapon safety rule style. Now, I'm going to go through the Marine Corps version, because it does cover all the same stuff. It's just some of those are separated out a bit.
All right. So give us the official hardcore version. Bam, go.
A good way to remember them is treat, never keep, keep. Treat every weapon as if it were loaded. This one should be obvious. If you're treating any firearm you find as if it were loaded, you're not going to point it at yourself. You're not going to point it at your friend. You're not going to point it at the dog down the street that you think is a really chill dog. You're not going to point it at your fucking TV. And in which case, if it's loaded and you, for whatever dumbass reason, don't follow any of the rest of these and pull the trigger, you will not damage something that matters. 2.
Sorry.
2. Never point a weapon at anything you do not intend to shoot. I've also heard it as never point a weapon at anything you do not intend to destroy, but shoot is more accurate. Again, if you're not pointing it at anything that you don't want destroyed, you're not going to destroy anything that you don't want destroyed. The Marine Corps goes with keep your fingers straight and off the trigger until you are ready to fire. I usually switch that around to keep your weapon on safe until you're ready to fire, because if you drop your firearm when it's off safe, chances are it's not going to go off. There are certain firearms where you have to be very careful of that kind of thing with, but the AR-15 isn't generally one of them.
Either way, it pays to be careful.
Yeah. And these 3 and 4 I just effectively mentioned, but the 4th one that I go with is keep your finger straight and off the trigger until you intend to fire. because you're already aiming down sights. That last safety is your finger. The most important safety you have exists between your ears. Your brain is your most important safety for those slower ones around here. You decide how safe you're going to be. Like my friend. He wasn't thinking fully clearly. He hit the ejection rod on his revolver and saw a bunch of rounds fall, but didn't check the chamber. He closed it and started cleaning the hammer. And it went off, and he ended up with a round in his leg. He's learned his lesson. I can guarantee you that.
But I don't think any of us want to necessarily learn that lesson that way.
Yeah. No. If you can avoid it, learn it this way, by just listening and following these. The last one, know your target and what lies beyond. So, at the range, generally you don't have to worry about this as much because you've got a specific target set up and you've got a dirt berm behind it. You're firing through the target, it's going into the berm. But let's say you're in the forest and you don't have a dirt berm behind it, but you put a target on a tree. How do you know behind that tree there's not a house? How do you know that there's not people walking on a hiking path right near that tree, but just past some brush so you can't see it? Know your target and what lies beyond. Important safety rules, because they could save your life, save someone else's life, or in my friend's case, they could have saved his leg.
And I have to say, when you're describing this actually relates me to a few rules of knife safety that I was first taught when I was, like handed a knife, said, all right, you're going to learn how to use a knife. Not for fighting, but just for using as a tool. Basic things. Don't cut towards you. Always make sure that it's locked and open, and never touch whatever the unlocking mechanism might be. If you have a lock like a just a solid knife that doesn't like a non-folding knife, then even better.
Fixed blade.
Yeah, fixed blade. Thank you. Sorry again, alcohol. But just it was 3 simple rules that I can't completely recall right now. But basically, it boils down to make sure nothing's in front of you. Don't point it back at yourself, and don't like put your fingers on the blade and cut away from yourself. Just general rules. Make sure it doesn't close on your fingers, that kind of thing. And these exist with any tool.
Yes, Chris Jones is my friend.
Yeah, these exist with any tool. Okay, anyone here.
I wanted to ask you about that. Everybody give Chris Jones shit.
I actually don't know who Chris Jones is. Please link me to him. I'm curious who this is.
Well, that's Rimshee's friend that shot himself in the leg.
Gotcha.
He's in chat right now.
Gotcha.
I love you, brother. And you did say I could use it.
Fair enough. But like, so in my case, I've done a little bit of blacksmithing. You can hurt yourself extremely badly with a forge, a hammer, a grinder, a belt sander, an anvil if you drop it and do horrible things to yourself. On top of that, if anyone here has ever used a lathe, you've got a spinning piece of machinery. If you've got long hair that gets caught in it, that could easily kill you. There's all kinds of rules for using any tool. And if you view a gun as a tool and something that you have to be safe in using because it can hurt you if used improperly, then do what you would do with any other tool. Learn what you have to do, follow proper procedure, practice, and be very, very careful even if you know what you're doing. And you should be fine. And everyone around you should be fine.
All right.
That seems like a pretty good place to end it, unless you guys have got anything else.
I think that's it. Rimshee, you have anything you want to show?
No, I got nothing, but I'll send you guys a couple links to put in the description so that people, if they want to learn the difference between semi-automatic burst and fully automatic, they can learn that. And I'll send you a couple other things, a couple other pictures. But if you want to toss up the that picture I have in the chat right there, real quick.
I will do that.
Colors,
1 moment, please.
Yeah, all the colors, all the colored arrows you see, those are effectively the same caliber bullet. The difference is the amount of powder, the shape, and what it goes in.
So, for example, those 3 red arrows
as well.
So, for example, those 223, each of those 223 rounds are all, each of them is a different round with some sort of different characteristic, but they could be loaded into the same firearm and they would still be called 223, right?
Not all the red ones. If you shrink that image a bit, you'll see, for example, the 45 ACP, those are the same round. And you see that wide arrow, the 50-70? That's the same size caliber bullet as the 50 BMG. You notice that's the most obvious example.
Now, I don't have the
Very
whole thing
different.
up here because it's cutting off the top and the bottom, and honestly, with how little time we have, I can't really be bothered to completely fix it.
Yeah,
But
not a big deal.
Right, even
But
even
you get
so,
the point.
There's a lot of variation here. It's very important in general with any subject to be aware that there's a lot that you don't know and be willing to learn more. I certainly am on this topic. So what I would probably just think to close out the show on here is this has been tremendously educational for me. I've learned a lot. I certainly hope anybody listening thinks that we're perfectly reasonable people and not horrible monsters that want to shoot up schools, because I don't even go to most schools anymore. And don't worry about it. And then on top of all of that, let's just say, look, if you guys have been listening, you've been entertained, and you want the people who have inspired us to do what we do, the YouTube Saints are going to be on really soon here. Tune in, be ready, and then on top of all of that, with all the resources we're going to put in here from Rimshee, all this stuff we're going to put in here for you to learn more stuff. If you ever want to know more, there are tons of people in this Discord which is the YouTube Saints official Discord. Ooh, look at that special
link in the description.
There are tons of people in here who love to talk about all kinds of different stuff and are knowledgeable in all sorts of different things. You know, Rimshee here knows far more about firearms than I will ever know. And honestly, more about probably a lot of other shit that I just don't know. I'm not going to assume. So please, if you're interested in learning more, feel free to hop in, join in the conversation, talk to people, and be part of our, I hope you're listening, Max, community.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good place to end. So with that, we have been your Lesser Saints of Discord, your one and only pre-show to the YouTube Saints. Starts around 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They will be. That's about between 15 and 20 minutes from now. Make sure to join the Discord. Link is in the description. Follow me on Twitter. Follow Waffle on Twitter. Hit that like button because we don't get any likes. We need that. We need
God,
that
how dare
interaction.
you hurt our
And
algorithms.
feel free to comment afterwards. We've been your Lesser Saints of Discord, Waffle and Jables. Have a good night.
Remember, stay safe with firearms.
Yes, indeed.
In other words, don't shoot yourself, dickhead! Hey, if Trump
join the Discord.
Wait, hey, if Trump said that, do you think Anita would do it? I'm just gonna let everyone ponder that. Good night, everybody. I'm gonna deafen myself. I'm gonna start this outro music. These guys don't get to have the last word. I do. See y'all next time. Enjoy the Saints tonight. For those of you still there listening, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm definitely pulling up the outro music. Here we go. Enjoy.
One sunny day I was riding my bike and smoking a joint, 'cause that's what I like. A policeman in there said, "It's a reefer, do you want some, policeman? It's a reefer, do you want a blast? It's a reefer, do you want some, policeman? Or would you prefer me to shove it up your ass?" Well, he put me in his car and he left my bike and he took my Reefer, which he quite liked. We got to the station and his eyes were all red, and the sergeant said, "Constable, you're out of your head." He said, "Yeah, it's a Reefer, do you want some, sergeant? It's a Reefer, do you want a blast? It's a Reefer, do you want some, sergeant? Or would you prefer me to shove it up your ass?" Well, he suspended the constable for his little joke, and he went to the bathroom to have a little toke. When he got back, I'd rolled another 8, and they were being passed round every copper in the place. Well, I sold them 2 ounces and 1/16, and they rolled the biggest joint that the world has ever seen. And they all sang together, "It's a Reefer, do you want some Mindless? It's a Reefer, do you want a blast? It's a Reefer, do you want some Mindless? Thanks for your company and thanks for the grass."
I don't smoke weed, except when I do. Good night, everybody. I'm gonna whisper until it's over.